Coming up on today's show, the diminutive Volkswagen e-Up is back by popular demand as Europeans look for affordable all-electric transportation. The Hummer EV's official EPA efficiency submissions show that it's the most inefficient EV to hit the market, despite that impressive range, and a peer-reviewed scientific paper concludes it's unlikely that hydrogen fuel cell vehicles will play a major role in the world's transition to sustainable transportation. These stories and more coming next. Welcome back to Transport Evolved News, or TEN for short. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell below, and I'll tell you how to support the channel later in the show. Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up today to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own clean energy or transportation future. As one of the smallest and most affordable electric vehicles you could buy in Europe, the Volkswagen e-Up was in high demand during its production. And when Volkswagen announced the end of the model in 2020, it was left with an order book more than a year long. Now, due to increased demand for electric vehicles across Europe and with the e-Up's planned replacement not due until 2025, the e-Up order books have been reopened, with production due to restart soon. With 32.2 kilowatt-hours of onboard battery capacity and 40 kilowatts of DC charging, its WLTP range sits at 258 kilometers, 160 miles, which is not exactly long-legged. But for city driving? In Germany, its low sticker price of €17,000 and change after incentives will gain it lots of customers. The US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has announced it is opening a formal investigation into unexpected brake activation by Tesla's Autopilot system. The phenomenon, known colloquially as phantom braking, occurs while cars are operating in autopilot mode and automatically apply the brakes when there's no reason to do so, something that's not only unpleasant for occupants of the vehicle, but also potentially dangerous to other road users. The agency says its preliminary evaluation will cover 2021 and 2022 model year Tesla Model 3 and Tesla Model Y, after it received 354 complaints over the past 9 months. It says while some customers complained to Tesla, many of those customers felt the company dismissed the problem rather than remedy it. The preliminary investigation could ultimately lead to a formal recall of affected vehicles. Dr. Herbert Diess, CEO of Volkswagen Group, took part in a Reddit Ask Me Anything, aka AMA, this week. During the online event, he entertained the possibility of an electric pickup truck competitor to the Ford F-150 Lightning and gave the impression that the door was certainly open, hypothetically, for an all-new electric Beetle, stating that, quote, "If we wanted to do a Beetle EV, it would be much better than today's model, much closer to history, because it could be rear-wheel drive," end quote. Diess also confirmed that plug-in chargers coming on all 2023 model year cars and that ID vehicles with 77 kilowatt-hour battery packs will also get vehicle-to-home capability via an over-the-air update. On the subject of autonomy, he said that he believes LiDAR, or a system like it, is essential for Level 3 autonomous driving. Official paperwork submitted to the US EPA by GMC has confirmed what we'd all suspected. The all-new Hummer EV might be an off-road king, but it's certainly not energy efficient. In the filings, which are required as part of official certification prior to volume sales, we learn the official weight of the truck, 9,063 pounds or 4,111 kilos, with the 212.7 kilowatt-hour Ultium battery pack accounting for 2,923 pounds, 1,325 kilograms of that total weight. In terms of range, that massive battery pack means a combined 329 miles, 530 kilometres are possible, but at an efficiency of just 47 miles per gallon equivalent, that's 5 litres per 100 kilometres equivalent, it's not great. Its predecessor was a gas guzzler, so does this make it an electron gulper? Talking of the EPA, the all-new BMW i4 and iX EVs from BMW both got their official EPA ratings listed this week. The most efficient BMW i4, the i4 eDrive 40 with 18-inch wheels, manages 301 miles, 484 kilometres per charge, while the least efficient i4 M40 on 20-inch wheels just does 227 miles, 365 kilometres. It's a similar story for the iX, with the iX Drive 50 on 20-inch wheels managing 324 miles or 521 kilometres per charge, and the iX xDrive 50 managing 305 miles or 491 kilometres on the less efficient 21-inch wheels. As those figures got published, we also heard rumours that BMW's next all-electric car, the 5 Series-based i5, will come with 3 different variants, including an M-badged performance variant. Following the successful rollout of a trial program in the Netherlands, giving EV owners with CCS-compatible cars access to its supercharger network, Tesla has flipped the switch to allow all 36 supercharger sites across the nation to do the same. This not only makes Tesla's Netherlands supercharger network one of the largest EV-agnostic networks in the country, but it should also facilitate travel for Europeans looking to travel to Northern Europe from the UK, France, Belgium and Luxembourg. Yet, as EV YouTuber Bjorn Nyland detailed this week on his channel, some non-Tesla EVs could encounter parking issues when using Tesla's superchargers due to the location of their car's charging inlet. Because Tesla's charging cables are so short, those with charging doors on the side of their vehicle may have to park sideways on supercharger sites in order to get the cables to reach. This would ultimately block adjacent superchargers from access. For decades, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles have been portrayed by some automakers as being the true and only answer to reducing global transportation emissions. Yet, as time has passed and battery electric vehicle technology has improved by several orders of magnitude, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles have failed to keep up. And this week, a new peer-reviewed scientific paper published in Nature Electronics shows that battery electric rather than hydrogen fuel cell should be the fuel type focused on. Noting that hydrogen will play a, quote, vital role in industry, shipping and synthetic aviation fuels, end quote, the study says that the world cannot wait for hydrogen fuel cell technology to catch up to battery electric technology for land-based travel. Even for long-range trucking, where hydrogen fuel cell big rigs have claimed theoretical superior range, the study points out that regulations on trucker brakes in most countries mean that mandated 45-minute breaks every few hours could easily replenish a battery truck's range, enough to continue on its way. Mercedes-Benz has unveiled 2 performance variants of its EQE luxury sedan, the AMG EQE 43 and AMG EQE 53, offering 355 kilowatts and up to 505 kilowatts respectively. The performance sedans have specifications that fit their badge, with the highest spec AMG EQE 53 4MATIC Plus promising a 3.3-second sprint time in ideal conditions and a top speed of 240 kilometers per hour. That's 150 miles per hour. With twin motors providing all-wheel drive, both models have a 90.6 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack and 170 kilowatt maximum CCS charging capabilities. While provisional range ratings do exist, we have to wait for official range ratings and pricing. Watch this space. Chinese battery firm CATL has been eyeing the US for a number of years as a place to site future factories. But this week, a transcript of remarks made in China by one of CATL's top executives suggests that the world's largest battery maker is closer than ever before to committing itself to a US manufacturing facility. When asked if the company would be entering into the US, one executive said the country is a market in which CATL must enter, noting that it is a lot of interaction already with American companies, including established OEMs and startups. We already know CATL supplies cells to Tesla for Chinese-made cars, so it's no stretch to expect it to be eager to do the same in North America. Additionally, with the US government wanting to set up in the US as a leader in EV battery production, I'm guessing that CATL might find some benefits to establishing a factory there. That's if it can get around the various political hurdles that will stand in the way of it doing so. Mandatory SEC filings made on Monday revealed that Tesla CEO Elon Musk donated $5.7 billion worth of shares to an unidentified charity or charities in November last year. But Musk's philanthropic actions, the details of which are still shrouded in mystery, were overshadowed this week by Musk himself, whose lawyer, Alex Spiro, sent a letter to the original court which oversaw previous SEC cases against Tesla, asking for an audience to discuss the SEC's, quote, harassment of Musk and Tesla. The argument that Musk's right to free speech is being stifled. It doesn't help that Musk later agreed with a Twitter commenter who laid out a conspiracy theory claiming that Tesla was being targeted by government agencies, including the California DFEH, because it was a, quote, disruptor in the automotive industry, was upsetting legacy oil and big auto, and failed to make political donations or pay for traditional ads. Musk simply replied, exactly, putting him in close proximity to the utterances of Kenneth Williams as Julius Caesar in Carry On Cleo. If that wasn't enough, Musk then went on to tweet a meme comparing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to Adolf Hitler, a tweet which was later deleted but nevertheless attracted a great deal of negative attention, including from the Auschwitz Memorial Museum. Coming up next, short shorts. But first, have you considered becoming a channel supporter? While we do fund the channel with supplemental income from third-party production work and white label content, the majority of our income comes from viewers just like you. With YouTube revenue from ads tanking despite strong viewership numbers, we've been struggling a little of late, so we would appreciate some more help from less than $1 a month via Patreon or our new YouTube membership option. In exchange, you'll gain exclusive content from us and early access to all of our videos. And if you already support us, thank you. On to the short shorts. EuroCell has announced plans to build a massive gigafactory in Western Europe. The €750 million facility is intended to start cell production in just 1 year's time and should be capable of producing 40 million battery cells per year by 2025. Aptera has published a video of a drag race between its alpha and beta prototypes, a Tesla Model 3 and an Audi R8 GT Spyder. The stripped-down beta prototype SEV crosses the quarter mile just a hair ahead of the R8 and significantly ahead of the Tesla Model 3. Redwood Materials has announced that it started to recycle end-of-life EV batteries in collaboration with Ford and Volvo. It's working with dealers and dismantlers to identify packs for recycling. It already recycles 6 gigawatt-hours of lithium-ion batteries annually. Last year, the Illinois Climate and Equitable Jobs Act requires the Prairie State to close all of its fossil fuel plants by 2045. And as a consequence, this has led to a massive increase in solar installations within the state, and the workforce is expected to grow by 47% by the end of this year. Fisker has announced its year-end financials. In them, the company revealed it has over 30,000 reservations for the Fisker Ocean EV, and it's also started taking reservations for its smaller, lower-cost EV, the Fisker PEAR. That's expected to reach the market in 2024. The Rimac Nevera has successfully completed one of the most significant hurdles on its way to market: crash testing. US safety requirements include 22 different crash tests, and the Croatian automaker opted to throw in some extra tests for future development. Miami-based boat specialists Ingenity announced it's taking pre-orders for its second model, a fully electric luxury dayboat called the 23E. With a 126 kilowatt-hour battery pack, the 23E can cruise for up to 14 hours. The troubled Chevrolet Bolt EV, subject of a protracted battery recall, took another small blow this week, with GM announcing that the restart of production has now been pushed back to April. However, it does say it hopes to restart sales of already built Bolts very soon. Ford has chosen the contractors it will use to build its Blue Oval SK battery pack in Kentucky. Sure to smooth over some ruffled feathers within Motor City, the Detroit contractors Barton Mallow will be working with Kentucky-based Gray Construction. Juniper Research predicts that spending on at-home charging stations will increase by over 390% over the next 5 years. The predicted $16 billion global spend is due to the expansion of home EV charging, where most EVs end up being filled. This week, the Candella C-8 took to the air, sort of. The hydrofoil-equipped, fully electric boat lifted the hull of its prototype from the water, allowing the dramatic drag reduction which Candella says allows the C-8 a 50 nautical mile range on just 44 kilowatt hours of battery pack capacity. A US DOE Vehicle Technologies Office report states that more than one half of the major elements used in the production of electric vehicle battery packs in the US are currently imported. All graphite and manganese and over 75% of cobalt was sourced from outside of the US. A patent filed by Ford suggests that its vehicles may soon be gaining a pet mode, similar to, but more feature-rich than Tesla's current dog mode. The patent suggests control over the windows, sunroof, trunk liftgate, and could even allow the seats to fold or lower. Mark Tennant, commercial director of Ineos Automotive, part of a petrochemical firm Ineos, says that it's considering building a battery electric version of the Grenadier off-roader, which is currently being promised in both internal combustion and fuel cell variants. Electromechanica has announced this week that it signed a non-binding partnership with Faction Technology to demonstrate its driverless and remote vehicle operations. Rivian's second facility, planned to be built in Rutledge, Georgia, has run into opposition from locals opposed to the project in such a quiet and rural area. A group of homeowners say they are pushing for the factory to be built elsewhere, citing pollution concerns. The 2022 model year Mustang Mach-E revealed its EPA range ratings this week, which are all slightly increased on last year's model. The standard range model gets a boost of around 15 miles, but extended range models get about 5 miles extra range each. Mercedes' next generation of the e-Sprinter has completed winter testing in Sweden. Expected to reach the USA and Canada in 2023, Mercedes reports its cold weather performance has exceeded expectations, quote, defying ice and snow. The US Department of Energy has awarded $175 million in grants spread across 68 clean energy projects, including an ultra-compact aircraft propulsion system and solid-state batteries. It's going to be fun to watch progress. Eve Urban Air Mobility Solutions, a subsidiary of Embraer, has received orders for up to 90 electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. The aircraft, destined for tourist flights in Australia, are expected for delivery and deployment in 2026. Ford's small SUV, the Puma, could gain an electric variant. That's according to Drive magazine. Ford indicated an all-electric version of the car during an online post from executives, along with an all-electric commercial model in the works for the mid-2020s. Nissan is investing $500 million to transform its Canton, Mississippi plant into a centre for EV manufacturing and excellence. The plant will build both Nissan and Infiniti vehicles, as well as battery packs, and will include a potential replacement for the ageing Nissan Maxima. New research suggests that corn-based ethanol may be worse for the environment than previously thought. Funded by the National Wildlife Federation and the DOE, the study found corn ethanol is at least 24% more carbon intensive than plain gasoline. Manager magazine, a German business magazine, suggests that Volkswagen currently lacks the technology to implement autonomous features and, as a result, is looking to buy Huawei's driverless vehicle unit instead. It says the negotiations are ongoing. General Motors has released images of another concept from its planned, quote, 30 new EVs by 2025. The teaser shot of the headlamps revealed that this is to be a Buick, likely the Electra, first unveiled in Shanghai 2 years ago. But you might need Austin Powers to get those plans. Ford and State Farm are partnering to offer an insurance program that leverages the connected nature of modern vehicles. Using onboard telematics to monitor drivers' behaviour, amongst other things, the program hopes to save safer drivers money. The US EPA is expected to reinstate a waiver this week, allowing California to set stricter emission standards for vehicles sold in the Sunshine State. The waiver, originally granted in 2013, was rescinded under the previous administration. And those are your short shorts. There will be more next week. As more and more companies race towards the dream of all-electric flight, we're starting to see some really exciting progress in the field of electric vertical takeoff and landing planes. And this week, Autoflight completed its proof-of-concept transition test flight for the Prosperity 1 air taxi. What's that, I hear you ask? A transition flight is what happens when an e-VTOL craft shifts from vertical flight to horizontal flight, something that's considered one of the most challenging parts of the e-VTOL engineering process. While the flight was carried out with nobody aboard, the test flight included travelling to an altitude of 150 metres, 492 feet, at speeds reaching close to 200 kilometres per hour, 123 miles per hour. Like all e-VTOL craft, we are watching this one's progress take off very carefully. And finally, I grew up on a farm in the UK, and as such, I've kind of got a soft spot for the erstwhile Land Rover Defender. And yes, I am talking the original one, as well as its Series 1, 2 and 3 predecessors, not the new fancy pants one. Getting hold of an original Landy in the US is kind of hard because crash test standards halted new imports of them in the 1990s. And while there's a healthy, thriving cottage industry where older and imported Land Rovers get new leases of life in the US, getting one isn't cheap. But thanks to Florida company ECD, I now have even more reason to want one, an all-electric option for those with very deep pockets. You can now spec an all-electric ECD Defender with upwards of 200 miles, 321 kilometres of range, thanks to a Tesla drivetrain and a battery pack. And while I don't like the interior, because I think Land Rovers should be functional, not flashy, I think I speak for both myself and Kate Walton-Elliott when I say, be still our beating hearts. And on that note, we're done for the day. But before I go, a huge thank out to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make your own switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a brand new clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to electricauto.org. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell for this channel and our second channel, Transport Evolved Take 2. And if you're not already a channel member or Patreon supporter, please consider becoming one. Or you can send us a tip through Ko-fi or Bitcoin, or even check out our cool swag store. Because YouTube is promoting shorts above pretty much everything else, we've been feeling the resulting advertiser burn. So we'll be back soon with more content on the channel. Enjoy your weekend, and as always, keep evolving.